Hey everyone, I'm super excited to be back again, and this time with Mirko again, and who is the founder and CEO of stakingrewards.com. And they're an amazing site that actually allows you to identify very easily and quickly where and how to stake the coins that you own and the coins you love to generate rewards in those coins that you love as well. And so really excited to be here with Mirko, super, entrepreneur, young. I think you're the under Forbes under 30 people to watch type thing, so really congratulations to that. And you hustled your way into launching staking rewards and bringing that about. But you've also been a miner, I believe, earlier in your career as well, or still are, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. So I did a bit of mining. Great to be on the show. Thanks for inviting me, Stefan. It's great to be here and
Yeah.
excited to talk through all these things. And I'm trying hard to make a dance with staking rewards as much as we can.
Yeah.
Just helping investors to get into staking and make it as easy as possible by just providing information, data, and all of that stuff on our website, and have an easy way for anyone to find which staking opportunities are there in the market and how to utilize them to earn a passive income.
Yeah, no, and we call this show Super Excited. Why? Because it's the most exciting, in my view at least, it's the most exciting time to be alive. There is so much change and turmoil going on that the opportunities that represent people that are willing to go out on a limb are there for them to take up these opportunities. And I think you're a good example of somebody that really has done something in this space. But before I go in, actually, before I start and go too deep, I always ask a question more on the personal side. And I don't know if you get times to go and watch movies, but what was the latest movie that you watched? Have you watched a movie lately? And what was that movie that you really liked?
That's a good question. I think I do watch movies regularly. I think one of the most ones that really stuck out to me, a great movie, was Parasite.
Oh,
It's a yeah.
yeah.
Do you
Timely.
know that it's a South Korean movie?
Yeah.
It really got me. I actually watched it in the cinema. So that was
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
I can highly recommend that.
Yeah, I just started watching a show called See. I don't know if you've seen it. It's about people, the whole society on the planet that have gone blind.
All right.
And they've learned to live with all their other senses except with sight. That's pretty amazing. Really good show. I've really been enjoying that one. So
That's
if you get a
incredible.
chance,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, no. So just on that, right? I mean, I think one of the things that everybody's talking about right now, or have been talking about, was this merge, the merge that took place, or the migration of proof of work to proof of stake. You've been in this space for quite a while, and proof of stake has been really beneficial as a model and an underlying foundation for staking rewards, right? How do I find the right coins, the right validators? What are the rewards across the validators? What are the commissions across the validators? All of those are really difficult to navigate. And I think you provide a great platform to do that. What brought you into this business, and how did this come about? How did you get the idea? What's the genesis for this?
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, I was pretty fascinated by the whole industry since 2013 already,
Yeah,
and been
so
getting
super
into
early.
Bitcoin and then into other alternative cryptocurrencies as well, like whatever there was, like Litecoin, and then there were some proof of stake
Mara.
coins as well, like Peercoin, NXT, and a few other of the OG staking coins, basically. So got involved there, just trying it out a little bit, but yeah, basically later down the road, I was I was trying to get more active in the whole Bitcoin space, and then started mining as well, and started some OTC trading and so on. Um, and yeah, with all the mining, what I felt, it was extremely hard to be competitive in the market. And I was talking to my partner who financed the mining farm that I set up. And we basically made a calculation and figured that like we have to invest like at least $1 million plus to become like profitable with the operation. And I felt like that's crazy. I mean, Bitcoin is supposed to be open and like everyone should be able to participate. And like considering that you have to invest so much money just to be part of the consensus and like validating blocks and so on, just was crazy to me. And it just led me to like more like look into proof of stake as well, because in proof of stake the fascinating thing is like everyone can participate. If you have a few coins, you can stake and you can contribute to the security of the network, and that's amazing. That's beautiful. And this just really stuck to me. And then I was researching a lot of those tokens, and there was just no resource in the internet where you can find, okay, which proof of stake tokens are there? What is stakeable? What are the rewards that you can get? And what are the risks there? And so on. And there was no information out there. So I basically did all the research there and then just hit up my brother and asked him if he's keen to like, build a website for that with me. And that's how we got started with staking rewards, basically.
Interesting. And so when you did that, I mean, the proof of work element, I mean, the mining, Bitcoin mine it's just, you can have great months or weeks or days, and then you can have really shitty days, right? Where you've got huge costs of keeping your rigs going, and no rewards come your way. And then ultimately you lose a lot of money. But when the rewards do come your way, you then have significant benefits associated with that. The advantage is every rig is equal, right? In a proof of work, right? Every sort of mining rig that you set up is equal and has the equal chance of winning the reward. And in a proof of stake, though, the more you stake, the more influence you have in a staking environment. No, so how do you feel from a egalitarian perspective? How do you think that's? I mean, you already alluded to it a bit earlier, but how do you think that's going to? Will the richer who stake more have more influence versus the miners in the proof of work that have more mining rigs have more influence?
Yeah, so that's a great point. I mean, I actually see it in proof of work. It's the same way. It's like you build up your mining rig. That's like
Yeah,
you buy some stake in the network, and the more mining rigs you buy, the more stake you have in the network. And that's something like everyone can go and buy mining rigs, but there
yeah,
are unfortunately like extreme economies of scale in mining. So it's usually like the people who have like the biggest mining power already
yeah,
also have access to like the cheapest electricity. They have access to like the best hardware. And for someone who doesn't have access to like the cheapest electricity and the most like the best innovations in terms of the ASICs and hardware and so on, they are left out. And this is just like, it's at the same time it's also like the rich get richer kind of,
yeah,
in the sense
yeah,
that like, yeah, once you have access there to like very good hardware, then you can keep this technology for you and continue to build on top of that. um, so yeah, I mean, obviously in proof of work you have like it's an outside of the network resource that's contributing to the security, so that's a little bit different.
yeah,
But at the same time, I'm actually quite happy that there is proof of work. I think it's a great innovation.
yeah,
I'm not like against it, and I think proof of work is amazing. It's just not made for like basically like a network of blockchains. Proof of work is made for one chain, and I think this is Bitcoin, and it's great. And I think Bitcoin should stay with proof of work,
yeah,
probably forever,
yeah,
because that's just an amazing innovation. But
yeah,
it's also like mining power is in some sense fungible, because
yeah,
once you have access to hardware, to electricity, and so on, it is easy to like kind of shift the mining power to some other network. And then always like I think proof of work is like a the winner takes it all market.
yeah.
And Bitcoin is this winner, and there can't be another proof of work chain. That's why I think for like if we believe in like a multi-chain world, then proof of stake is the only option to go with.
Yeah, and I think the options and the diversity and the participation that proof of stake offers is also very interesting, right? Anybody with any token that can stake their tokens and earn rewards on their tokens for securing that specific network, right? And to me, that's really exciting, right? To me, in a way, it's the future of a savings account. I mean, so your money is actually not only just sitting in a bank in somebody else's custody, it's sitting on the network, and you are a participant in that network or that branch network of one bank, and that bank is hosted by multiple different parties to secure and ensure that the safe stays safe in a way, right? So it's like, but I think one thing that you launched this business, you got into it in 2013, so really early. You launched it with your brother, and I think one of the things, and I think you mentioned it in a podcast once, I noticed, where you talk about sort of gut feeling, right? So you, as an entrepreneur, as a startup, you have hundreds of decisions you make every single day, and you make the decisions based on the information that you have, and a lot of it though depends on what's your stomach telling you, right? Or what's your heart telling you, or your mind with your heart, with your stomach, to come up with gut. How do you sort of take that on the one hand, and then the data driven decisions on the other hand? And
Right.
you're in a
Yeah, I mean
data
that's
business.
yeah, definitely. I think like the thing is just like there's so like especially for us humans, right? There's so much information to process.
Yeah,
And I think we are just like we are just actively processing like a very, very tiny bit of all the information that we like see, hear, feel, whatever.
yeah,
Um, and the thing is, but all the information is still there, and we just don't have the mental capacity to actively process all of that. So most of it is just like processed like subconsciously, and this like subconsciously processed information, this is what funnels or like compensates into the gut feeling, I think, which is like, so basically the a decision based on the gut feeling is actually based on like way more data that we can actively comprehend, I think. So it's supposed to be a better decision because it just takes more data points into account, and then
yeah,
the active decision is mostly just based on like a few considerations kind of, but it doesn't take into account like the big picture kind of, um, which is like, yeah, all the experiences that we make, all of this is being
yeah,
processed for like or like funneled into a gut feeling. um, so I do think that decisions based on the gut feeling are mostly right.
yeah.
Obviously there are like some logical like yeah
Justifications
other
to support that.
considerations to make always. Yeah, but no, it's very interesting. I mean, yeah, when I think about the whole blockchain space, it's also like and the whole world right now is so information overload.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you don't even know which information to take, and this is basically like yeah, it's a huge pollution of like information and data, and then being able to like, yeah, trim that down into like one single feeling, or like having the ability to like um, having so many data points and just yeah, getting a gut feeling out of that, I think is quite fascinating actually, and it is right most of the time, I feel. Like once you start thinking about something too much, then yeah, start overthinking, and it is like there's this thing in the brain, like once you think about doing something and you don't do it within the first 3 seconds, then you're not going to do it at all.
not
So
gonna
the
do it at
only
all.
way to do it, like if you have an idea, you have to do it in the first 3 seconds without
It's,
thinking about it, because then you're going to do it, and you're just going to do it, and that's great. um, so it's a good exercise for someone to just to do at home. If you have any idea or something, do it in the first 3 seconds, and don't think about it. So, and I think how we move forward a lot without overthinking stuff too much and just going for it. Yeah, I mean, most of the time, nothing can go wrong anyway.
Yeah, I like that. I like that 3 second rule because that's so true, right? Some of the biggest emails you wrote, some of the biggest contacts you made, some of it was just based on I got to do it now, right? And you just do it, and then wow, it happens, right? Some sort of and yeah, if you don't do it, then you're never going to do it, right? They also say when you sleep, immediately have a notepad next to you, right? And then you can write down your dreams because otherwise you forget the idea that you had or something. Interesting.
True.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
but one thing I find interesting, it's like the gut and you said it, right? With information overload, and especially in crypto, right? It moves so fast. It has so many different angles. It's so broad, from NFTs to DeFi to staking to blockchains to which way, bridges to inter protocol messaging, whatever you want to call it. But there's so much going on across multiple different chains that to keep an overview of what's going on and combine that with the macro situation of what's going on, how do you digest information, right? Because I mean, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I immediately put on a podcast, and I don't listen to music anymore. All I listen to is podcasts in the background, trying to keep up to speed what's going on, reading news, and then Twitter feeds. You go through your Twitter feeds, and that then shapes a lot of your thought process, that in your gut, when you have to make a decision, it's like you heard all these different inputs that then subliminally helps you drive a decision based in your gut. How do you process information? Um, do you watch movies at 1.5 speed, or listen to podcasts at 2 times speed, or I don't know what's like, yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm actually like, I'm a very slow reader.
Okay.
Like when I read a book, I usually like take a very long time. If I finish books at all, like often I don't finish books because it's like I'm just stuck with like a few pages, or like I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like my brain takes time to process. Even like sometimes you get like and imagine this, like a book, like you often have like 500 pages or something. It's impossible when you read all of this to like process. Like you can't. It's just gonna
Yeah.
go in and then immediately out again. Um, that's
Totally.
why actually like I take a very slow approach when consuming books, at least.
Yeah.
That helps me. I also have a lot of books that just read into and then just try to get something out of it and try to
Yeah.
process it, try to apply it first because I continue reading or something. Um, and it's a little bit different for podcasts. For podcasts, I really it's kind of it's enjoyable, just like listening to podcasts when like driving in the car or like walking outside, and
Yeah.
like when you have you can do it on the site, and it's
Yeah.
mostly like a bit more free flowing.
Yeah.
But you still get like things out of it. So I actually do enjoy like very very long podcasts, like the likes of like Lex Friedman and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do listen to them, even from like start to finish. So I find it pretty interesting. Um, and apart from that, I'm reading Twitter, but it's also there's a lot of noise. Like I don't really watch any news or something, or like I don't have any newspaper or something. It's
Yeah.
mostly Twitter, and then just hearing from like colleagues or friends and about news. So that's mostly how I process information. It's like it's very hard. Like there's so much out there, and I don't feel it's like very effective to start opening up a newspaper or like some online magazine. There's like so much noise. It's insane.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I couldn't agree more, to be honest. I mean, I think I share very similar to you, where I would take me weeks to read books or months. It's like 500 pages, and I'd read it word by word, right? So and oh man, that is such an important chapter. Let me understand that, and then you try and think through that chapter, and right, and it's just like, and then you go and read on. But I would remember the books. And then I realized there's a whole category of people out there that read books for entertainment. And it's the style of
uh,
writing, that it's like the flow, it's it's does it make sense? Does it flow content well? I don't know. Just And to me, it was like, oh my God, it's like, how do you do that? And they read a book in a day.
Yeah, that's insane to me too. Yeah.
It's like, and so I was so jealous of people that could
yeah.
read so fast. And so then I found an amazing app, right? I found the audiobooks, right? So it's like, and then I could listen to books where I lost the when I listen to a book, I'm listening, right? You can't if you're wandering and looking at the trees and you're having a walk, you're worrying about the dog, you're not listening anymore, and then you forget the words. So when you're a real reader and you want to read every single word, it's super hard to do that transition. But once you did it, I did it. It was like really, oh, there was you get certain parts of the book, but not all of the book. But at least you've read the book.
Yeah. I think it's also like the reading is 2 times faster than listening, I believe. Or like, usually when you read, it's 2 times faster. So you can get more information, but it's also, I don't even know if you can process it 2 times faster as well. That's where I have like very big doubts with everyone who's reading books very fast as well. Like, is it really being processed, the information? Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I'm fascinated how we have so much information, and like you, I don't watch TV, I don't have a newspaper. The only source of media is really, the internet or Twitter and stuff like that. So I think that's, and then you have to do your own research in terms of finding out who are credible sources that you think are having a critical view on things and representing a neutral perspective on something versus just clickbait or fake news or just and that I think takes time to filter through that and understand what that means.
Yeah, definitely. There's this one app, I don't know if you know it, Blinkist, where you get like the summary of books in like 15 minutes or something. It's pretty good. And yeah.
I haven't tried Blinkist, but I've heard of it. I've seen their ads.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take a look at that.
I had an audiobook recently, and then in the end of the book, like I felt like, okay, I just gotta listen to the blink again. So I listened to the book and listened to the blink, just like the summary again as well. And it really helps to like just even summarize books. Find it quite helpful.
I think you have a bit of a reputation in the market to have been very much self-taught, right? You've taken education as something on your own shoulders. You wanted to learn it on your own. And how do you feel, in the world today where we're all talking about education, and in the US especially, education costs a shed load of money. To go to university. In Europe, it's a slightly different scenario, but I suppose. But how do you feel with traditional schooling and training and the models, and then sort of how you can possibly learn to learn yourself, right? And sort of what's your view on that versus traditional schooling?
Yeah, I think most of the stuff is more effective taught like just by like YouTube videos, basically. I think you can get most of the information. It's free on the internet. You need to be able to like navigate the internet because there's so much noise, and we just talked about this.
Yep.
So it is so important to like have a unique way of like how to create your own information bubble, because it's automatically shaping up this bubble, and the algorithms are like YouTube algorithm, Twitter algorithm, and you're so like influenced by that. So I think it's very important to like use this like as a tool, kind of to like push yourself in a way. So it's getting more important to understand how to use the tools. I think that is probably something that should be taught in school, like how to use the current algorithms and like technology and everything to your own like learning
Advantage.
like this is something what you should learn in school. And the other thing that you should learn in school as well is like obviously the kind of anything that fits into the system. Like if you if you want to work in finance or you want to work in law or something like this, like you need to know like the laws, you need to know like the accounting practices, you need to know like this and that. So this is something I think it's very, very helpful to have schools who teach that in a standardized approach, because it just helps with like human coordination at large, kind of, that we all use the same standards, that we all speak the same language. And this is kind of important. But for all the other things, like especially business, I would say, and like all the like innovation and everything that's new and technology. So you can learn all of that online, and you can learn it for free as well.
Yeah.
I don't think you even need to. Obviously, there's it's probably helpful to have like even courses and stuff that are a
Yeah.
bit more structured. But if you find a good way to like navigate the algorithms of the world, then you can get all of that for free and even better, I think.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, the three things in that case, right? I mean, so the traditional education system hasn't kept up with the times and sort of evolved the education curriculum to meet the real world requirements that you have in terms of how to use these tools, find the algorithms, how to select where to do your research, how to be critical in selecting the tools that you use that are going to help you educate yourself and move yourself forward in a digital world. I also think what you're saying is life is an ongoing learning, right? We can't just stop when we finish at school. We constantly need to read other sources. We need to be up to speed in innovation and the speed of innovation and the speed of change. We constantly need to be educating ourselves. So we can't just sit, oh, we went to school and now it's cool. I've got this diploma or this certificate and I'm cool. I need to do that, right?
Yeah,
And the,
that's
yeah,
such a great point. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it's a bit silly to like separate our life into like, yeah, you have a few years you go to school and learn, and then a few years you apply that. That doesn't make sense. Like the world is moving so fast, and I think in crypto we know that very well. Like
yeah,
things that we held for true like yesterday are not gonna be like, yeah, not relevant today anymore, and it's moving so fast. It's insane. We can't even keep up with it. So we also have to adapt. And I think, yeah, what we learned in school yesterday, how is that still going to be relevant in 10 years, considering like
exactly.
the
Yeah.
technological, yeah, innovation, acceleration. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and on that note, right? I mean, just on once we come out of education, right? There's this whole element of, and I talked about it really early on, and I think you do too, right? When people are referring to universal basic income, right? I mean, that means sort of I just sit back, do nothing, and I earn money, right? And it's and who pays for that? Number one. Number two is where I feel, sort of DeFi and the passive income that has been generated, in DeFi or in staking is a form of rewards for putting your money to work, right? And I don't think we get any of that credit. If you leave it in a bank account, the bank gives out a loan associated with it to someone else because we've given them that deposit, and they only need to hold 20% in deposit or however much based on certain requirements. However, in crypto, we all of a sudden we put that money to work directly and get the rewards directly, which can act as a universal basic income in a way. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, you're in the staking business. You're providing a visibility into providing that tool where people can educate themselves on how to earn rewards, right?
Right. Yeah. I think um, I do see all of that as passive income. I just don't think there is like a real passive income. And I think that that's very important to differentiate. Like every
Okay.
passive income in the world is like, it's to some extent active. And like it's impossible to just like think you do nothing and you get money for that. That doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So I think passive income is never entirely passive. It's like to some extent it's always a little bit active, and there's something you have to do for it, or like at least you have to expose it to some risk. So I think that's where you get passive income from, is like, putting your capital to work by exposing it to some form of risk, or like
Yeah.
being in some form active with it. And like the
Point.
mix, or like the clue there is to find like the least risky way and the most passive way, to like find the passive income opportunity. And then you can probably really call it like a passive income. But and you can also you can always ramp it up. You can expose it to a little bit more risk. You can be a little bit more active. And like, this is the way how you can tweak like your own passive income. And this is where we try to just like educate users on like, okay, what is the risk, what is the active part, what do you have to do for it, how, like, to which extent is the capital at risk. And just like figuring out like the individual like comfort zone for someone, like how much risk are they willing to take, and how active can or want to want they to get, and then finding like good passive income opportunity based on that. But yeah, it's obviously also in crypto, is like there's a lot of like inherent risk. So just with staking, especially, like if you earn rewards with staking, you're always exposed to the underlying currencies. So it's not just like the staking risk, of course, but it's also like always the the collateral risk, basically. And you have that to some extent with like even the US dollar and the euro. Like we've just seen the euro basically like dropping like like crazy. And so there's some risk as well. It's not like just because it's a stable currency or like fiat money, there is no inherent risk. So it is as well, probably with the US dollar, obviously way less than with whatever Ethereum tokens or Atom tokens or whatever. But it is still there, and that's just very important to understand. What's the risk of the underlying, what's the risk of staking, and how active do you have to get. And having all of these factors coming together, that's what we just want to educate users on our website, to make a good conscious decision. And start earning passive income in a smart way that's suitable for like the individual risk reward profile, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I like your wording. It's not necessarily passive income, right? Because passive means it's doing nothing and it's just sitting there. Whereas actually, every income you earn is has some sort of activity associated with it, right? If you wherever you put it, it's being put to work for some purpose, and that's how you're earning income, right? I think that's super important. I think what you're trying to do with staking rewards, in a way, is provide the educational tools, or make it available to everybody to understand, hey, you can earn X reward on the coin that you hold versus keeping it in your wallet, or keeping it on an exchange, or giving it to a custodian that might be doing that on your behalf without you maybe even knowing, or something like that, right? So it's creating that awareness. I was just on with
I think
a
that's
yeah. I was just on with a journalist the other day, and she just bought her first crypto and was wondering, what do I do with it outside of Bitcoin, right? And what can I do with it? And it's like, well, you can earn rewards on that. Check it out. And I linked them to your site, and she was blown away. Oh, look at this! Oh my god! So it's like super, yeah. So it's a great tool to understand and learn how you can earn rewards on this.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's still a fascinating concept, right? That you
Yeah.
earn rewards on your tokens, especially in a world where interest interest savings account on the banks are like 0.5% or less, or like you
Or
even pay
less.
for it,
In Switzerland, you have to
to
pay for it.
yeah, exactly. So the whole concept, I think it's due for a revolution.
Yeah.
And I do think cryptocurrencies will play a huge role there, where like really we can finally design money. We have a huge design space for monetary policy and like for our currencies, and we can make the money work for us as a human, as humanity, so that the money actually generates a passive income for all of us, and works alongside us, and is not like robbed from us with like basically inflation by like money printing from central banks, which is like a some sort of like coordinated theft on everyone who is
Yep.
holding like their money and holding like their
Dilution.
yeah their their contribution to the world. Like you work, you go to your job, and you create some value, and you get money for that, and then it is robbed from you by just like other people diluting it, and that's insane. So I do think there's a huge opportunity with cryptocurrencies to really have a way that the money can work together with us to make us all richer, in a sense, and not just monetarily, but also from a general sense, like yeah.
Yeah, there's I mean, if you there's a view that given what has happened with blockchain and the fact that we can now have secure, financial computation available to everybody. We have products, NFTs and DeFi that have evolved and bring down the cost of participating in financial services. That every single business will become a financial services business, right? And so as that is, treasury management is going to become such a critical part of every single business out there. And is that your view? And how do you feel? I mean, obviously, staking rewards is a tool for treasury management, ideally, right? As a portion of the overall allocation of your treasury.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is like we all have like our treasuries, like individuals, institutions. Everyone has a treasury, and everyone need to manage that. Everyone need to do something with it. That's why we created money, in order to store value, and to use that as a means to like pay each other for goods and services. So it is like in the interest of everyone to like take good care of like the value that is stored in some form or another, and make sure that the value stored is not like being diluted or not like depleting over time, but it's
Yeah.
actually like growing a little bit, or like at least remaining stable in the value that it inherits. So staking will play a huge role in that, I think, for everyone. Like if we imagine like crypto will play a larger role in the global in the global
Financial.
economy and in the financial world and everywhere, then staking will be just at the center of it, I think, for like for every bank, for every institution, for every business, for every person. And
Yeah.
this is just just a great way, as we have a way to like contribute to like the maintenance of this whole like global financial economy, by like providing security collateral for it, and then earning rewards on it. How that's going to look like in 10 years, like we don't know. Like proof of stake is probably going to emerge and evolve over time. But the concept itself is fascinating, and I think it's going to be there in one form or another, going forward, because it just makes so much sense that we use all the monetary value that is there, to like secure the network that everyone is operating upon by itself, and we don't need a central entity to provide this guarantee or to provide this trust, because we do have like so much monetary value in the system, that the system can govern itself, and everyone
Yeah.
can benefit from that, without one central entity basically like taking a cut out of that, or like diluting the others.
Yeah, I mean that's why we launched trueflation.com, right? I mean, we just felt we need to show how much we're actually diluting and show that actually your dollar value, whilst the dollar number stays the same, the actual purchasing power associated with that declines, right? So that how do we make that more visible? But on that note, I mean, I think, one thing that I'm sort of, and I think with you being early on in crypto as well, we've always been trying to sort of find new means of helping us govern and have centralized, trustworthy sources of governance associated with money. And that meant also a bit separating state and money from this, and money came about to facilitate trade, an exchange of goods and services for a value. And we standardize that value with a currency. And I think it's now become so hard to do global trade with anybody in because of the incumbences that have been put on the frameworks that we have today. And they're no safer than the crypto world. I mean, look what's happening. Every sort of 8 years, we go through another big, phenomenal crisis, and the crisis is always the same. It's always control, CDS, or collateralized, debt swaps or whatever they call them nowadays. It's like all these funky instruments that they've been creating in the same sort of form. And how regulated is that market? How is that? How do we come with a framework that allows us to protect the retail market and the consumers, yet at the same time allow for innovation to thrive and fix the market quickly, not create big bubbles and then burst into a ginormous atom bomb, but actually just have little firecrackers going off and then optimizing it based on that learning, which I think crypto does really well.
Yeah, 100%. And we see it again and again, like the centralized lenders who all got bankrupt recently.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like the DeFi protocols, they worked flawlessly. Like there was no issue. They all like whoever like supposed to get liquidated got liquidated, and who not didn't. And in TradFi, it's just like it's not transparent. It's really not secure as well. And we just saw that like yesterday, basically with Credit Suisse, like having like hugely over leveraged or something. I don't know exactly what happened there, but it's definitely like that's an issue of the TradFi world, because there's like it's intransparent and it's inefficient, and this just doesn't happen in DeFi, and it's fascinating that we have this like one real example where like the centralized entities basically blew up and the
Yeah.
decentralized didn't, because they just rely on code and they don't rely on kind of
Sentiment and
in-person relationships which can get corrupted, and like there's so many nuances to it which you just don't have when you just have a smart contract that says A, B, 1, 2. So everything is like very straightforward, and there's no second thought on it.
Yeah, and I think that's to my the other issue, right? You have the peoples that are defining these roadmaps and the people that are executing on those roadmaps or living to those regulatory frameworks that have all gone to school together. They've been around and they've been buddy working side by side for the last 50 years. And all in different positions within the same sort of ecosystem of companies or departments within governments. And so ultimately, the decisions are made as a club of all the same people that have been a member of this club for the last 50 to 70 years, right? Depending, where they are, which is not right. But I think one thing that I've always been excited about is I look at certain cities around the world and certain states. In Europe, let's say you look at Portugal, you look at Ireland, you look at Estonia, that have really tried to facilitate a tax-friendly environment where people can consume the services that are available in those markets that foster innovation, invite it. I look in the US, you look at Texas and Miami, and those cities are booming. I know you have decided to move to Portugal. Well, what were the sort of reasons behind you moving to Portugal and setting up there?
I mean, the regulation is like crypto regulation is still not worked out entirely here yet. So there's no taxes on crypto, which is great, and that's why a lot of people of the industry are moving here. And Portugal is, I think it's just a great place to be. It's a very balanced weather throughout the year. It's a great community here. You have the beach and it's just beautiful. Great food, great people. So I've always
Important.
been I moved out of Germany basically when I was like 18 or 19, and I've just been traveling since then. So nothing really held me back in Germany much for a long time. I really enjoyed living in Berlin for a while
Yeah.
because there were like a lot of friends in the
Like,
industry as well and so on. But now most of the people from Berlin moved to Lisbon as well. So that's actually a great a great way coming back together here. And that's just fascinating having like another place, and it's not too far from home. It's still easy to like visit the family and stuff. And in that sense, I really enjoy living here. So I don't know if I'm going to stay forever, but it's a great place to be.
awesome. So thank you so much. And by the way, Staking Rewards is having a summit in Portugal. So if you haven't seen Portugal yet and you need a reason to go go see the Staking Rewards Summit, and then you can see all the great communities that are out there in Portugal, and especially also in crypto. So thank you so much,
Definitely,
Mirko
yeah.
Schmiedl. I know we've taken up a lot of your time. Awesome, awesome as always. I love our conversations. I think we share so much in common, and yeah, just love what you're doing. And yeah, and thank you for your time. And again, it's a super exciting time to be alive. This is the time where builders really shine. And we're not just speculators and arbitrators, but we're trying to provide and help the navigation associated with democratizing DeFi, right? How can we work together to make that happen? And we're building the tools to do that. And thank you for doing that, Mirko.
Thanks to you as well. Thanks for having me on the show, and thanks for all the great work that you do. And looking forward to continue growing the industry together.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.